before we begin, the first order of business is for you to make a decision. This is a personal decision. It's intimate and it can only be made by you, for you. Nobody else can do it for you. There is no outsourcing to any authority on this. There's no looking to anybody outside of yourself for the answer to this question. Because whatever answer you get from anybody else, you can accept it. And then if you accept it, your life will proceed from that standpoint. But you'll always be left to question that premise. You'll never know for sure because it came from somebody else and you are relying on their authority for it to be real for you. So that's why it's no good to source an authority to answer this question that I'm going to detail in a moment. At the end of the day, nobody can make this decision for you. Only you can. And you make this decision basically in the dark. And again, you make this decision, and then from that decision, life unfolds that way. And it'll unfold that way because you chose from your decision made with your own authority. So here it is. What exactly is the nature of the relationship between your circumstances and your inner experience? So is it that there is no connection at all? So you have your own inner experience inside of your consciousness, and then there's the world out there of random floating rocks and molecules? Is it somewhere in the middle? It's a little bit of A and a little bit of B, where maybe in your consciousness you have an intention or a desire or a plan, and you try to make that plan happen, and maybe you can succeed and maybe you can't, but who knows? Or is it all the way in the other direction, which would be column B, which is your experience is a reflection of your inner world. There is a connection there. Which one is it? Are we in a random universe, or is your universe connected to your inner experience? Is it connected to your belief system? Now, the reason why we need to settle this is because we're about to get into a discussion on alignment, internal alignment, and the effect it has on the experience that you have. And this discussion will hinge on assumption B. It'll hinge on the assumption that there is very much a relationship, there is a connection, there is a communication between your inner experience and your outer experience. And so here's the premise. Here's how it goes. Alignment is a state that you return to. And I say return as opposed to achieve, because it's not like you are looking for alignment for the first time in your life. You're trying to make your way toward it in some way. Alignment is more of a state that you are born in. It's an abiding state that any conscious entity is in, that it can leave. And as soon as it leaves alignment, as soon as it positions itself outside of that state, it positions itself in adversity and struggle and disconnection. And it makes sense just from this common sense standpoint. There's no need to complicate it. There's alignment, and then there's out of alignment, out of universal flow. There is the over-indexing of separation, of individualism, where you say at some point, I'm separate from the whole thing. I am a separate being. And then once you make that claim and accept it as a belief and start operating from that point of view, then you create a life for yourself where you are a separate being and you are out by yourself. And then when that happens, what happens to the rest of it? What happens to everything that falls under the category of not you? It becomes other. And then it becomes a competitor. It becomes something that is hostile. It becomes something that you need to say to control or understand or harness or dominate or run from or be afraid of. By contrast, to be in alignment is to be a part of everything. What we learn in Ken Wilber's integral theory, especially in his book Sex, Ecology, and Spirituality, is that the idea about alignment and about integration in the whole, like being integrated in the whole thing, the universe, being connected to the whole universe, is not to have your individuality be subsumed by it. The idea isn't to lose yourself, to merge into some squishy puddle of love where your individuality is lost, kind of like Pluribus, the show, AMC's Pluribus. But it's instead to retain your individuality while at the same time being apart and to have the balance of connectedness and individuality. There are pathologies on either extreme of individuality and connectedness. So we don't want to go extreme to one, we don't want to go to one extreme or the other. We want to bring them together. We want to integrate them. And this is what is meant by being in alignment. When you're in alignment, then life is well. When you're in alignment, then you are healthy. Then life is healthy. Your relationships are healthy. Your physical body is healthy. Your finances are healthy. Career is healthy, etc. When you're out of alignment, chaos is created, unwellness is created, confusion is created, and isolation is created. So my whole suggestion to you right now is to return to alignment. There's nothing to it. Return to alignment. Come back to it. Fall back to the original state that you knew and still know, the state of oneness with everything. I released a video a couple months ago that was about trust. And I was describing how difficult it is to say exactly what it is we're trusting, despite the fact that there is a real need for trust. But trust in what exactly? Trust in God, trust in the universe. None of these seem quite right. And what I've come to realize now is that what we're looking for is trust that we know what alignment is, that we know when we're out of alignment, and that we know how to return to alignment. So I'm sincerely curious what your answer is. Do you trust that you know these things? If you do trust that you know these things, then you're truly blessed, because it means that it means you have the three essential ingredients for coming back to alignment. And the knowing that it's good and safe and proper to be in alignment, because the mind has a lot of things to say about alignment. It doesn't feel safe in alignment because it's not in control that way. So by contrast, the mind would prefer to be in a state of complete exertion. The mind would prefer to be in a state where it's doing everything and getting up and forcing everything to happen and in a state of great strain, and ends the day completely exhausted, knowing that it did everything that it possibly could, because this is control. This is how you can let yourself off the hook, say, if you don't get the results that you're after. It's also how you can relax around your deserving issues, right? Because let's say you get a chunk of money or success of some kind and it comes, but you didn't work for it, then you won't feel like you deserved it. You won't feel like you earn it, and then you might risk getting rid of it. So it's a safety mechanism to be in struggle. It's a safety mechanism for the ego to be in force, pushing, exertion, trying everything, constantly thinking of more things to consider and then considering them forever. It operates with fears and phobias too. If you're afraid of something, let's just say you're afraid of octopuses, and you're pretty sure that there's no octopus that's going to get you overnight. But are you sure? Like, are you completely, utterly, totally sure that no octopus is going to get you in the night? Well, no. I mean, if you think about it, there is a way that an octopus could come get you. It's possible. You could think of a way. And if you can think of one way, you can think of a couple ways. But that's okay, because you can just mitigate that. You can put a few more locks on your doors and put some like chemicals around the door frame that would be repellent to octopuses. You can get that on Amazon. It's just $5. You may as well just get that just to be safe. Just to be safe. It's only $5. And think of the peace of mind that you'll get. But wait, I can think of another. Actually, an octopus could come in the window, so I should put some propellant on the window, right? And on we go, and on we go, and on we go. This is what it means to not be in a state of trust. When you're not in a state of trust, the imagination knows how to employ itself, and it uses your endless, bottomless, fathomless creativity to constantly come up with something to keep you busy with, and to say that your sense of safety is just so close, but not quite. The fear mind, the ego mind, wants to keep you in a state of almost there-edness. Think of all the different ways that you're almost there. Think of all the boundaries that you hit against, all the walls that you're hitting your head on, all the things that you're struggling with, where if you could just get to the other side, then you would be fine. Then we would be there, all would be well, and then we could finally relax. Then we could finally be present. Then we could finally feel safe. You know that this is all nonsense. But the mind plays the game of let's just be sure, let's just be safe, just to be on the safe side. And then you say, oh, okay, and then you go along with it. So when we talk about trust, trust means knowing when your psychology is being ridiculous. And knowing that this endless game of just to be safe, just to be sure, just one more thing, almost there, that's hypnosis. That's you being given the runaround. That's you having wool pull over your eyes. That's you giving your agency over to your fear mind. This is you playing dumb. This is you being out of alignment. Trust is stepping right back into alignment. Trust is knowing what you know. Trust is knowing that it's safe to trust yourself. When you're out of alignment, okay, you get chaos. You're behind. Let's just say you're behind on your work. You're behind on your life. Everything's chaotic. There's 10 things to do. There's 20 things to do. There's 50 things to do. There's 100 things to do. There are more things to do than can possibly keep track of. You've tried making lists, but then those lists become yet more things to do. You've downloaded apps that will help you get organized, and they just end up on the junkyard of things to do. Nothing seems to work. And everything is crammed. There's no space to think. There's no space to move. There's no space. How could I possibly sustain this? It feels like everything is just held together by a hair. Everything is just barely held together by your maximum effort. See, it seems that way, but what if instead this were just simply a symptom of being out of alignment? The mind says, no, it's not about alignment. It's about that I'm not going fast enough. Since I'm so behind, I have to double down. But the problem is that when you double down on your speed and go faster, you end up creating more chaos because you've bought into that premise of, I need to go faster. It seems like you're going faster in order to get to the 0 point where you've caught up. But really what's happened is that you are pedaling the machine of chaos that creates more chaos. It's getting worse the harder you pedal, not better. So we say, no, it's not about speeding up. It's about finding alignment. It's about grounding in. It's about locking in. It's about finding center. It's about trust. It's about getting comfortable in your seat. It's about slowing down so that you can do one thing at a time. It's about giving yourself the grace of only one thing can be done at a time. To say anything else is complete madness. Only one thing can be done at a time. And by offering that to yourself as a gift, you get to the work of doing this thing that's here for you to do. one thing at a time. You create one routine, one ritual, and you stick with it. You develop the discipline. It's like a flagpole. It's like a stake in the ground. You stick with this one thing. Every day you plan to do one thing and do one thing every day. Letting it be enough. Affirming to yourself that it's going fast enough. It's going fast enough. I'm going fast enough. Everything is going according to the correct pace. All is well. All is well. And by giving yourself this gift of all is well and giving yourself the gift of enough, I'm going fast enough, I'm doing enough, there's enough time, there is enough time, the nervous system relaxes and unwinds. And then by virtue of getting in alignment with yourself, the intensity of it, the fogginess of it, the heaviness of it dies down and your vision becomes clear. This whole time, it was a nightmare of your own creation. It was a nightmare that you're creating. It's not real outside of that you keep peddling it. You keep maintaining it. You keep doing it. This is what happens when we step out of alignment. The nightmare just continues to grow. You can see now why I opened this conversation with the caveat of what's the relationship between your inner world and the exterior world. Because if you are of the mind that they're two separate things, then there's nothing that can be done. You're just, the only thing you can do is just chase that endlessly receding horizon for the remainder of your days as things get worse and worse and worse. But if you're open to it, which I assume you are, then you can be open to the possibility that your experience is nothing other than a nightmare of your own creation. And the only thing that needs to happen is for you to stop creating it. Now, if you stop for a minute, it may still persist over the next little while, and that's because there's a certain momentum behind it. So our conversation isn't about stopping it right on a dime, but our conversation is about stop maintaining it, stop making more of it. So I think that's about it. Step into alignment. Here's the last bit. If you find yourself even now still asking, how do I return to alignment? In a minute, I will have a good answer for you, like a usable answer, but I want to start by addressing that question. It's like, how do I get into alignment? How do I know? How do I do this? How do I act on this? Put something in my hands. Completely understandable. But imagine your perspective if I was carrying a handful of rocks in my arms and I was struggling under the weight and you said, well, why are you carrying them? Like, just drop them. Just drop them. And I said to you, oh, yeah, like I'll get there one day. Yeah, I'm working my way towards dropping these rocks. I don't know how, but I'm reading a book right now and I'm studying a modality and soon I'll be able to drop it. What would your reaction be? You'd be like, what on earth are you talking about? Stepping into alignment is like that. It's like, it's the holding, you're holding your position out of alignment that requires all of the effort and a continuous mounting effort over time. Nevertheless, you say out loud the words such as these. I return now to alignment. I hereby trust myself to find alignment. I ground in now. I hereby choose to find alignment. I hereby lock in now. And if you say these out loud, you'll notice it feels what? Just a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more open, a little bit more spacious. It's very nice. And that is all. If you're interested in the one-on-one work that I offer, there's a link for that below. please hit like and consider subscribing to the channel. Would really help me out. Thanks.